You know, guys, we don't always screw up. I mean, a lot of the time we do, but every now and then we have a little bit of foresight and we do something right. And I personally think it's only fair, right? We always take the blame when something goes wrong. We should be allowed to brag a little bit when it goes right. So here's your Tuesday morning tech tip from Pugliese Speed Shop. So you guys probably remember. If not, we'll give you a refresher, or you can go back and watch the video. I'll be honest with you, I could use the views, you know. But if you don't have time for that, we'll give you a little catch you up to speed here. Last 2 or 3 videos, been working on the kids' 98 Eldorado, right? And guys, we're right there. You might not know what to look at it, but no, we're almost there, all right? Most recently, we were doing, what's probably become to be known as the world's longest ever valve cover gasket change. Now, I say that because I'm used to changing valve cover gaskets on something like a Chevy back there. If you got about a minute and a half and like a 9/16, you could get it done, right? That's all you need. This guy, did I show you this? Look at this, guys. You'll understand because this is not the case with this guy. Look at, yeah, North Star, V8, crammed in their side with like shoehorned, right? It was not the easiest thing to do, all right? It was time consuming. It wasn't terribly difficult, but it was time consuming and a little aggravating. And, when we went to the old trusty internet to, get a little bit of guidance, a little stick and rudder to keep us on the right track. We got wrapped around the axle because they said we needed a special tool, like $340 special tool. Luckily, I didn't fall into the game, all right? And I'm going to tell you all about it. All right, guys. There was 2 things that were like key in order for us to get this done. And you're not going to believe I actually had both of them. You ready? One is the proper book, right? The other one is the proper tool. I usually don't have either one, right? So we can probably just agree on that, right? But in this case, the guy my brother bought the car from, I believe, is why he has this book. So then he's been in the car ever since. So I initially just got after the valve cover, right? I spent, how hard can this be? You see, like, here's the stuff. Take that off, and that's it. It's not it, guys. There's stuff hidden that you got to take a tensioner off for the water pump pulley because that's on the back of the motor, and all this stuff hardware has to come out of there, and the pulley itself is on the crank. I'm sorry, the camshaft. And there's a special thing there. You got to maneuver this thing. It's an operation, guys. I'm going to tell you what. So I got a lot of the stuff off, and then I started struggling. I said, well, let's get the book. So I get in the book, and I'm seeing I got to pull that pulley off, right? And in the book, it tells you use part number yada, 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 or equivalent. And the or equivalent is key in this whole thing. Because I said, okay, I don't have this part number, whatever. So what do you do? You pick the phone up and you start Googling, right? So I punch in the part number for that pulley or adapter or special tool or whatever they called it, and it comes up. It was like $330 something. I was like, you've got to be kidding me, right? And then I started looking, you found them for like $250, and of course you're ordering them, you wait a couple of days, and at this point it was like creeping up on midnight. I was getting pissed off. I just wanted to get this done. Like, I didn't even know I was going to do this in the first place. Remember, we talked about it. Jay set us up. I actually gave him a hard time when he was over here. I was like, dude, look at this. He's like, wow, I had no idea it was that much pain in the ass. But it was dumping oil right onto the alternator that I just changed. So let's, there's these things are kind of known for some oil leaks, right? So I was like, well, I see it's coming out of there big time. Let's change that, and we'll go on from there. See how that takes care of the problem. If not, then we can move on to one of the other places I might think it's leaking from. But that's not what this video is about. It's about this valve cover. So I decided I'm not spending this money. And I'm like, what's this or equivalent? So I started doing some research and trying to look. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, I feel I can just use a regular pulley puller, right? Which, as you guys know, I got. So, but I went down this rabbit hole, guys. I honestly did. With the with the special tool and you know Cadillac, there's a lot of stuff you can't do nothing without these special tools. And I got a box over there full of stuff I bought just for working on this car. And it was like I was like, well, I guess we'll put another tool in the toolbox, right? So then I started thinking about it. I come across a video of some guy in a junkyard just getting after it. He's got like an impact. He slaps it on there, and then he throws it. Like I don't know what he was proving. But he proved to me that it can be done without the $300 tool. So, what I decided to do, because I was frustrated, it was 1,000,000 degrees out, you know, all that kind of thing. I said, I'm not doing this tonight. So, we wrapped it up, came back in the morning, went right to this guy right here, and used, I mean, your basic stuff. It's nothing crazy, right? I think this kit was like $30 off Amazon, of course. And, you just use like this corner of stuff. This guy, like these two incorporated with this. We're done, right? That's all it was, guys. Super simple, and it came right off, went right on. Now it was a little bit tight, right? And that's also because I didn't take the hose off, which I don't think, well, I know I didn't need to do. Because you know why? You know why I know that? Because I got it done without doing it. It tells you to take it off, but as you guys may remember, I just topped off the coolant. So I'm like, yo, I'm not doing that. I'm not dumping coolant or whatever. So I zip tied, and I had everything off, and then the fans, I had plenty of room, you know, for activities there. So I pulled it back, zip tied it out of the way, did the stuff in front of the motor, moved the other one, and it can easily be done. That was the least frustrating thing of everything I dealt with. So we got that all done and put it back on the same way. And as I was smart enough to mark, you know, make sure I knew exactly where the pulley came off. And that can screw you, and that's actually screwed me in the past because I put it back on and it looked like it was all the way on, but it wasn't all the way on yet because it wasn't lined up with, you know, with the tensioner, but the tensioner wasn't on. You had to put that on after. So it could have been one of those things where you put it on, line it up, okay, take it back off, put it on. So I don't want to do that. So I marked it, put it right back where it was. Handy dandy little installation kit, which was just this in reverse, right? And we were good. And it was and I didn't get excited. I wanted to. I'm not going to lie to you. But I said, you know what? Let's just take a minute and get it done. And so that's what we did. Stopped when we started getting frustrated, came back the next day with a clear head. Now, granted, that meant it was another video because I was out of time. And it is what it is, right? So we get it done, and I was able to show you the right way to do it with the right tool without paying the crazy price. And yeah, so the moral of the story is you don't always got to buy it, and of course I'm going to say this, right? You don't always have to buy the crazy tool. You can get things done without all that stuff. So if you're working on one of these cars, and guys, they are all over the internet, and people are just bashing them that they're terrible. They're not terrible. If you don't get easily aggravated, if you can do tedious tasks, if you a low miles one or like this one. So actually, me and a kid were looking at the receipts he had on this thing. Like I said, the motor was changed at 09, 2010, something like that. From Jasper, it was a Jasper motor, and on their warranty, like it says all about like some of the rod journals that was a known bad thing. They fixed some of that. Then what I was worried about with this was the head gaskets. The head gasket always goes, and it's because the studs are like not deep enough and all that. Well, that's fixed on these. They fixed it, I think, in '04. I want to say '04. I think '03 was the last year of the bad ones. I think '04 and up, they put the longer studs and everything's good. And that's what happened. That's it, kind of bulletproofed, for what it is. And so you get one like that, you're good. You don't got to worry about that kind of stuff. You're all set. And he loves the car. It's a great looking car. It's been wonderful to him. It's comfortable. It's paid for, right? Like all the good things you want out of a vehicle. And the guys, this thing gets like 35 miles to the gallon, and it gets up and goes pretty good. So all good things. And so don't be afraid to tackle these kind of things. I actually had a couple questions. I got some about this car. Some guy was looking at one, 85,000 miles. It had, what was it? I think everything was running, driving good, but they wanted, I thought a little more, like $4,500 for it. And I asked the guy if he was a mechanic or if does it have a spare car? Because some of these things, he's like, no. And I was like, you probably want to stay away. But, yeah, you can do this stuff, guys. I mean, like with simple stuff, read the book, right? And, take your time. And before you go buy that crazy tool, look around the shop. See if there's something you can use. See if you can make one. We've done tech tips on that on tools we've made, and it saved us a ton of money, a ton of time. And I go in the hard body, it actually worked out better than the tool they had. So you never know, guys. Don't get discouraged. Get out there, take care of your stuff, and most importantly, just take your time. I said that a couple times. Why do you think I did that? Don't get frustrated. Clear head, and follow the book. All right? I tell you, that's it, Thanks for watching, guys.